personal questions. So many people look up to you in the business world. Who do you look up to? I mean, who have you always had as your mentors or spiritual guides in the world of business, close associates and friends? Could you give us some names?
You know, I can think of two people. Uh, One was a gentleman called Mr. Sidney Pinto. He was the one who pioneered merchant banking in India. And he was the first person who effectively joined me when I started my career. Solid in law, strong foundations and fundamentals. And he gave the right moorings for building a substantive approach to life and work. And I have to credit him. The second person in that same spirit, actually even before Mr. Pinto, is a gentleman who is a very successful investor in the Indian market called Professor Shivanand Mankekar. I did my MBA from Jamnalal Bajaj, and Professor Mankekar used to take a subject called corporate finance. In the first session of his, he blew all our theories and highlighted the importance of cash flows in sustainable growth. And I still remember going to the stock market for the first time along with him, as he often used to do after his lectures at Bajaj. And that actually was one of the finest lessons I've got from Professor Mankekar. And of course, I have got many other people who have done significantly in the journey. And amongst that, the one person which I also have to certainly thank for is my friend Anand Mahindra, who had the courage and conviction to lend the name of his family in the very early stages of our journey as a firm. And that was a very important thing, and I do care about my relationship with Anand as well. So these are some of the people who have meant a lot to me.
I also want to ask you about whether you've thought about your own life beyond 2024, because things may change. But as things stand today, you will probably have to step down in December 2023. And it's not as if you'll be 80 years old then. You'll be barely in your mid-60s, which in these days is fairly young for an entrepreneur. What would your life be like if you did step down? Have you thought about it?
You know, I think there comes a point of time where every manager has to think about his role and appropriateness of his role for the future. I will be close to 65 around that time. And I think in my capacity as the CEO or the MD, I have to ask the tough question about my continuation as CEO for a fast changing world and a faster changing institution. Of course, I am not in the same position where just because I may step down as CEO, I have no connection with the bank. I continue to have the ability of being on the board of the bank as per the current regulations as well. And therefore, I don't think that is an issue. And what's most important for me is in the journey of Kotak and myself beyond 2024 for a long, long time, it is culture, it's governance, it's ability to change, it is entrepreneurship, and it's about building an institution which will make India proud. And that is really what I consider as a sustainable legacy, which I would love to be a part of and the journey. And there is lots to do in life. It's, I mean, I would really like to see how life takes me beyond 65. The world is an oyster with huge amount of opportunity, but Kotak will always be a part of my heart.
Of course, how could it not? But do you think you would find some time to go back to your sitar?
I wish I could, Udayan, if you could go to the hills. I think I can also think differently, I hope.
Well, you could, but you, unlike me, you have all those billions to take care of, Uday. Have you thought about that? What would you do? I mean, you're so enormously wealthy now. They say you're the world's richest banker. Have you thought about it?
You know, Udayan, let me just step back and say, I don't think the pleasure is in accumulation. The pleasure is in the journey and the pleasure of making things happen, of building an institution which would be global scale, size, and quality, and has the ability to change with the times. Think about American institutions. Think about a JP Morgan. Mr. JP Morgan is long dead and gone, but JP Morgan, the institution, continues to be probably the largest banking institution in the world. think about institutions like Goldman Sachs, with whom we had partnered once upon a time. They are all family names. The original family members and individuals may not be there, but institutions have sustained. And finally, the real test of individuals is how well are you able to create institutions which, in my context, would make India proud.